Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100% You, a podcast which is all about discovering who you truly meant to be and becoming the best version of yourself. I'm your host, Bari, and I've been on the self-development journey for the past 14 years and spiritual journey for the past 12 years. Today's episode, we're going to talk about your goals for 2026. So it's been already 1 month since this year started, and this is a great time to stop for a second and see if the goals you set are the right goals for this year, if it's your true desires. And if you haven't started walking towards those goals, what should you do around this time? So let's start. So usually we're all very excited about the New Year's Eve and setting all the right goals and planning for the new year. And I feel like the whole organization and planning comes in the face of before January and just a few weeks after. And usually it stops when we're like 2 weeks in the new year. So I thought this episode might be a really good reminder for all of you that it's a matter of progress of the entire year and not something you just set yourself for goals and forget about it. So I'll try also throughout the year to remind you, go back to your goals once in a few weeks or months. I'll do some kind of catch up because in order to make sure you get the goals you set it and you actually get everything you also put on your vision boards and everything, you must do constant checkups and make sure that your life aligned to those goals. So that's what we're going to do today. So if you haven't wrote goals for 2026 or made your vision board, so this is also a great reminder to do it. But if you're listening to this episode, you probably are the type of person who set goals and look ahead of what they want to achieve. So I did this too in the last week of January, which is now basically. I went back to my goals and looked at everything that I wrote because once we write our goals, usually we're very excited. We have a lot of dopamine. We really want to, achieve everything. So we write great goals. However, in order to make sure we achieve those goals, we need to make shifts in our life. This shift might look as getting a plan on how we're going to achieve those goals, be very specific, have sub goals, and also make habits, which is one of the most important things if you really want to achieve things in your life. So what I recommend is go back to your goals, look at your vision board if you have one, and start seeing, first of all, does everything that you wrote actually reflects what you truly desire this year? Because many times we write things that we feel inspired by and really, excited about. But after a few weeks that we actually set those goals, maybe we realize that those goals are not reflecting 100% what we truly desire. So I don't know what about you, but for me, it took a lot of time to set the right goals for this year. I also started from my birthday, so it was like, I would say a few months process of really getting clear on what I want. But still, when you set the goals, there's always how to go deeper and in more depth in order to understand what truly the desire mean and what can help you achieve it. So I can tell you about myself. I'll give you an example. One of my goals for this year was to feel and look my best that I ever felt in my entire life, to feel super confident, to feel that I'm like the best version I could possibly be in terms of physical appearance, I would say. Also, of course, also inside, but like physical appearance was very important for me in this year. And this goal is something that I already set many times before in my life. And sometimes I did accomplish it, sometimes I didn't. But this year, I decided to be very specific with what does this mean to me. So for me, looking my best was a few things: to lose weight, which I already did in the past few months. I lost the weight that I wanted, and there's a little bit more that I want, but that's it. It's kind of, I marked it. Another thing is that it took me time to put a finger in it and say, like, this is what I want to have in order to feel that version of myself. And it's something that I understood only after I set the goal, which is have a great posture and work on my jawline, because I have a great jawline, but I want to have it more defined. And I'm not into all this, Botox and whatever. I really believe in natural stuff, and I believe we can transform our body naturally. So once I realized this is part of my feeling confident for me, it's every time I take a picture, I look incredible. And when I went deep into it, I realized that look incredible, it's not that I don't look great on photos. I do. I believe I do. But I realize that it's more deep than that, that I feel that my shoulders are not straight enough. My back is not straight. Like my posture is not good enough to feel that way. So I realized that one of the things I need to work on is my posture. Now, when you set a goal that you want to work on your posture, it's super, super broad, like, okay, so every time I walk, I'll try to walk with my back straight. And, that's how usually people do it when they set goals. But what I did now, and I think that's a really good example for everyone that actually want to make change in their life, I knew that I'll start to go with this goal only after the first month of 2026, because I knew that I have more time to work on planning that thing from February. So what I did, I realized that in order to change it, I need to make it as a habit and make it something that is really easy for me to integrate in my life. So I decided I want to do 5 minutes every day of posture exercise. And not only that, I really want to learn that topic, but I don't have now a lot of time to start learn this topic. So I realized that I want to take it as a progress of 6 months in order to actually transform my life. And also you can talk to any AI bot and also understand how much time those type of things, the goal that you want to achieve, can take. With this type of goal, I think it's easier because it's more measurable. But in general, if you know how much time it can take to this goal, it will be for you much easier. So I realized that for me, in order to achieve part of this goal of looking my best, I need to work on my posture. I need to make sure that this whole posture thing, because I did heard about it before, it was on my mind last year, 2 years ago. It's not something new for me, but I realized, if you see the video, I'm trying to sit straight. So for me, I understood that in order to achieve this, I must make it as a habit, which is 5 minutes a day. And I started this week this challenge, and I also built myself a plan, because if I don't have a plan, sometimes you start something, you start some kind of a challenge, but you don't have, let's say it's a 6-month challenge. So after 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, even 2 months, maybe you forget about like what was the entire goal and everything. And I decided that I want everything to be in front of my face. So I opened a Notion. If you don't know what Notion is, it's an app basically also on your laptops and also on your phone that you can build yourself planners, CRM, whatever, organize your life. So I use Notion a lot. And what I did is create an entire plan inside Notion of the 6 month, how they're gonna look like. So I did like a small checkbox of checking every week that I finished the challenge. I divided it to 3 phases. First phase is like the first 2 months. The second phase is the second and third month. And then the third phase is the 5th and 6th month. And for each phase, I have different routine. And for each week, I have different thing that I'm focusing on. So I made myself a plan, which is very measurable, and I know exactly what I need to do. When I want to change something in my life, I want to make sure it will be super simple for my brain to follow the instructions in order to achieve this goal. Because if it won't be so obvious for my brain that this is like what I'm doing and I need to think about it, and it takes more energy of me in my everyday life, especially when you're in a very busy period in your life, the goal that you had, if it doesn't structure and build properly, it can just disappear and, go to the trash. So I built myself a plan, and the habit that I have, I love habit stacking. I have very defined morning routine for years. So I decided that whenever I finish to drink my coffee, I will do 5 minutes of this exercise routine, because 5 minutes, even if I'm really in a rush, 5 minutes, it's nothing. Like I will be able to do that no matter how much a crazy morning I have, which usually I don't have. I really love to have slow mornings. But this is something that when I make it as a habit, eventually it will be so much easier to follow. And to make a habit usually takes on average 66 days. So if you really want something to work for you, you need to make sure it will be part of your everyday life, habits, whatever, because if it will be hard for you to execute whatever you want to do in order to achieve this goal, it will be much harder to get there. So I'm really proud of myself that I made this plan and I'm very excited for it. And also I told myself that I want to learn about this topic. So I looked for videos, TED Talks, whatever, and just put myself in this Notion tab, all the links, everything that I want to hear throughout this 6 months, and slowly learn about it more and more, because this is something that's very important for me. More than that, I realized that if I want to look my best, I need to eventually work out almost every day. Of course, I can do it by not working out, but I want to work out every day. This is something that I love. I want to work out at least 5 times a day. And right now, I don't have a lot of time to really devote to like 1 hour workout or go to the gym or whatever. So I need to make sure it's really aligned with my schedule that I have now. So what I did, I actually really love this, because I went back and I was asking myself what made me in the past to be very consistent with. I ran a few half marathons. So what made me be very consistent, especially in my first half marathon, that I was very planned. I had workout routine for 5 times a week, and I was for 3-4 months was hitting every workout on this plan. Like I didn't miss even one. And I had more goals in the past that I realized that every time I had everything planned and I knew exactly when and what I'm gonna do, and it was part of my everyday ritual, I realized that this what eventually helps me to achieve the goals. So that's what I did with the posture, and with working out, I did kind of the same now. So I realized I don't have 1 hour to work out every day. I do have 10 minutes. I do have 20 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes. So that's something that I know that no matter how much things I have going out in the day, I can devote 10 minutes or 30 minutes in the morning. So what I did, the habit stacking again, I decided what kind of workouts I want to do in the upcoming 6 weeks, because it's my semester break. And I realized that I have a few type of workouts that I want to incorporate in my everyday life, which is I want to go back to running at least twice a week, because this is something that I so love. I want to incorporate more walks. I want to, which I already kind of do, but I want to make sure that it's also like I have one day that I do walks in the morning. I want to have 1 time a week at least arms and abs workout, more like Pilates vibe at home, and 1 time of legs workout. So what I did, which is super basic and super boring, but I actually love it because I know that I'll actually do it. I decided on which days I want to do running. So I decided that on Sunday and Thursday, it's going to be the days that I'm going to do 30 minutes run in the morning. I decided specific days, what I'm going to do, when and how. And it's just in my schedule now, instead of every weekend sit and plan my workouts, that this is usually what I used to do with working out. Every weekend I used to sit and think what I'm going to do the next week, or I was just spontaneous with whatever workouts I wanted to do. I realized that being spontaneous with workouts or planning everything in the weekend just consume a lot of time for myself, and I want to be on autopilot mode and just execute and do it, because I miss working out, but I need to make sure that it's planned. Because usually if I'll wake up in the morning and I will not plan to work out, I might end up doing like 10-20 minutes, but maybe I'll feel that my entire morning routine will be longer than usual. So I just wanted to make sure everything is more planned, so my brain will be on autopilot and just execute this. So if we go back to your goals that you wrote, so first of all, I want you to do the following things. First of all, look at your goals and see if they reflect actually what you want. Ask yourself, and you know what? You can even before that go and just, without looking at your goals, just write on a piece of paper or in your computer or phone. Write what are your desires now and what do you want to achieve in 2026. Because, sometimes when you're not consistent with your goals, you sometimes realize that a month later you have completely different goals, which I hope you don't have it. Because if you set goals the right way, and I have a video or episode, you can watch it on YouTube or listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I had an amazing episode on how to set goals for 2026, which I highly recommend. It's very practical. So if you didn't set goals the right way, you probably forgot what you wrote. So this is a bad sign, okay? So look at your goals, look at what you desire now, and make sure that everything kind of aligned together. So I highly recommend also to go deep on each goal and see if you can expand more the definition of what these goals mean to you, and try to see what actually you desire inside this goal and how important it is for you. Because many times when we set goal and we're in this setting goals phase, So we're in this bubble of this is what I want, this is what I think I want. But when times go by and after a few weeks, you go back and look at those goals, maybe the definition, you understand that something was missing in your definition of this goal, and maybe your desire is a bit different. So look at the goal. Look at the desires you have. Make sure that your goals are still relevant. If they're not, so make it clear for yourself. So you make sure that you have the right goals. Then be super honest with yourself. Am I aligned with the goals that I have? And did I start walking towards these goals? If you haven't started walking towards these goals, some goals might wait maybe till the second part of the year, and that's totally fine. I have some goals like that too. But look in general and see if you have something built towards those goals, and are you walking on the right way to achieve those goals, which is all about being super honest with yourself. Also, sometimes in this phase, it's great time to prioritize our goals and look at what goals are actually more relevant for our life now after we started this year. Maybe some goals are more relevant, maybe some less. So check your goals and see if your order of getting the goals maybe change. And also look at your habits. Does your habits gonna lead you to achieve those goals? And this is, I think, one of the most important thing. And if we'll take the example that I told you about the plan that I built for the posture and everything. So I had this huge goal, and I realized that in order to really achieve those goals of feeling my best and all of that, I need to make it as a habit, because if I will not make it as a habit and I will not build it and plan it properly, it will be harder to achieve it. And this is where you need to ask yourself, what is the right way for you to achieve your goals? Because I know for myself, as I said, because I looked at things that I achieved in the past and I realized that for me, what works is have a really strict plan, have it as a habit to make sure my brain is on autopilot, which works for, I think, almost everyone. But see what works for you. Maybe for you, it will not work that you have a really structured plan. For me, it does work. And for many people, it should work. But, everyone is different. So look what actually helps you to achieve the goals and make sure you start to build a plan or strategy around this thing that helps you to achieve the goals. And also be very patient with yourself. I hope your year started well, but also if it didn't, that's totally fine. We have an entire year to build, and entire life here, it's just a framework of this is point A and point Z, but eventually look at this as a progress and just know that this framing of 2026, it's just for you to help you to map your entire year and make sure that you're kind of aligned with everything that you want to achieve. So if I'll summarize it, I'll recommend you first of all to go back to your goals, and even before that to write to yourself what are your desires now and what are your goals now, and see if you remember all of your goals. And if they're not the same, that's a strong sign you need to change something and be more specific, and maybe something change in your desires. Then I would look at your life and be super honest. Whatever I'm doing now, does it align with achieving the goals that I want? If yes, amazing, keep going. If not, what types of habits I need to create in my life in order to get there? And do I need to build a plan in order to achieve this goal? Because if you want to get something, you need to plan and have a strategy to get there. So ask yourself if you have the strategy, and if not, maybe you should devote a few days or a few weekends just to sit and plan it. And that's totally fine. That's also fine to have a few weeks that you plan something, build a strategy towards a goal. Depends on how big this goal is eventually, but don't be hard with yourself, because if you didn't finish writing the strategy or plan in one weekend, that's totally fine. Sometimes it takes us, especially if you want to do something much bigger, a bigger project, I don't know, build a business, start a podcast, write a book. Sometimes it takes a lot longer than just one weekend to plan it. So devote time in your calendar or whatever you're working with to have this time set for yourself to plan towards these goals. Because if you start working towards these goals without a clear plan, first of all, it will be much harder to achieve the goal, because maybe you have in your head where you're going, but when you don't have it planned and a clear strategy, when you will have challenges, and you will have challenges for sure, it will be much easier to just put it aside and forget about it, and very fast you can find yourself just letting go of this goal or the practices that you made. So take time to make a plan, strategy for whatever goals you want. And I actually really, as I said, I love using Notion. I feel like I tried to master Notion in the past years, and I feel like now, this year, I understood how it helped me to build a clear strategy, which is amazing. I built for this podcast my entire everything inside, all my strategy and all the episodes and everything I do with Notion, which is very helpful. And for university, for everything almost I write with Notion. So I have everything in one place, and it's really helpful for me. And the last thing that I will recommend you to do, which I love doing, is create challenges. You can do it by yourself, you can do it with friends, but I can tell you that for me, challenges help me a lot with starting new things that I want to achieve in my life. One of the biggest challenges I made that really helped me incorporate one of the best habits I have, which is meditation. It all started from a challenge that I made. I want to meditate for 30 days. That's what I did. I meditate even for like 1 to 5 minutes. And eventually, after 2-3 weeks, it helped me build a habit of meditating every morning. Or I remember there was a time I did 100 days challenge of working out, which also really helped me. And I did every morning for 20 minutes. And I had another time that I made challenge of 10,000 steps every day for also like 1-2 months, and it really helped me to go into walk more. So create challenges for yourself is a great tool in order to get to a certain goal that you want. So the 6 months program that I built for myself with building a better posture, that's exactly a challenge that I made for myself. But before I started the challenge, I actually planned the challenge, because if I would just start the challenge without anything planned, that would be much harder. So remember, we're just at the beginning of the year. Now it's a really good time to just sit, look back, understand if you were very clear on your desires, and just plan it the right way. Make sure you have the right habits, and remember that it's a process. And that's where it gets fun, when you understand that you're building and creating your own life, and it's a lifetime process. But when we look at 1 year specifically, it's a yearly process that you're gonna make. And take it easy on yourself. It's not a race. It's just you trying to become better each and every day. So I hope you liked today's episode. I hope it was a great reminder for you just to look back at your goals. And I did forget to say something also regarding your vision board. If you made any vision boards, I can tell you about myself that I changed my vision board for a few weeks, and I finished it completely only like 2 weeks ago. Because at the beginning, I made one vision board which had all the goals that I had, but eventually 2 weeks ago, I decided to take pictures that represent what I want and just put my face there with AI, which was amazing. And now I'm obsessed with my vision board, and it feels much more strong and connect to my goals and desires. So if you have pictures in your vision board that are not fully feel that this is what you want, or just in general doesn't give you the feeling that you want to have, so that's also a great time to change it and change the pictures, make sure everything is aligned with what you want. And again, just remember, it's a process. It should be fun. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And next week, we're going to talk about momentum, which will help you to take everything that you planned, all the goals, everything, the habits that you understood you need to have in your life. And we're going to talk about how to actually make it happen. So I'll see you next week. Bye.